Welcome to This Week in Baseball for the week of May 23rd, 2024. We're recording this a little bit early, so if something happened on May 22nd, sorry about your luck. We're not going to talk about it today. So just want to let you know there. But we have some very, very exciting news. A friend of ours who has graciously come on the podcast before, very good friend of the pod, Ryan Loutos, who last time we talked with him was at AAA Memphis for the St. Louis Cardinals in the bullpen. Well, as we speak today, he is in St. Louis in the bullpen wearing number 68. Ryan just got the call yesterday, so congratulations to him on making it to the major leagues. This is a huge deal. He is the first player, the second player, I believe, ever out of Washington University in St. Louis to make it to the major leagues. So this is a huge deal.
Huge congratulations to Ryan, and well-deserved, and couldn't have happened to a better person too.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have the game on right now. It's in a rain delay, but I'm going to see him when he comes in for the first time. So don't worry, I'll be watching all the games. We also have some not so fun news for the Atlanta Braves. Namely that they lost their offense. If anyone sees it, please call 555-1234 and ask for blooper. He's looking for his offense.
Is that on milk cartons or something?
I'm going to the grocery store and taping it to all the milk bottles.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah. So
so hopefully they don't find that offense in the next 3 days against the Cubs, but
I hope we find it immediately. Call blooper now. 555-1234.
I'm gonna go to the grocery store and rip off all those "Where are the Braves?"
No.
I don't know. Like, there's not that much to talk about here when the team has had so much success and they have all the same players. Like, I don't think individually, like, I'm worried about any single player on the Braves right now. I think it's just like bad luck and just bad timing that everybody seems to be in a rut at the same time.
So it's very, very similar to slightly different severity level, but very similar to what has happened with the St. Louis Cardinals the first month of the season. Like, the Braves are definitely not this bad offensively. No way.
They've scored 3 runs per game since April 26th, which is worse than the league.
Yeah, but they're definitely not that bad. This is a team that has Ozzie Albies, Ronald Acuna, Travis d'Arnaud, more guys, Austin Riley.
Matt
Olson, there we go. Like, all these guys are spectacular on their own. The fact that they're all kind of slumping at the same time, it happens sometimes. Yeah. It's still early in the season. I mean, like, the reason I compare it to the Cardinals, one, I'm a homer. I'm watching them right now. It is very much in my brain. But, like, the Cardinals have been abysmal the whole season so far. And then all of a sudden in the last, week and a half, the Cardinals have the highest runs per game in the major leagues. So it ebbs and flows. The Braves will be back. There's no risk for them.
And the thing about the Braves is they also, despite their offense being really poor in this month, they've actually still been winning a lot of games. They've still got a very solid record. They're lagging behind the Phillies now, but they're in no danger of, like, falling out of the race or anything crazy like that. Like,
they're 27-17. Like, yeah. The main reason that they're so far behind Philly is because Philly has played 5 more games than them. The Braves have been rained out a lot.
Amazing.
So, but yeah, so they'll be fine. And honestly, it's probably the fact they've played 5 less games should probably make you feel better because they have 5 more games to find their offense. and storm ahead of the Phillies. So, let's see here. Braves offense. Why did that? We do have some more unfortunate news. Jung-Hoo Lee, center fielder for the San Francisco Giants, is going to miss the rest of the season. He has a torn labrum that he is getting surgery to repair, and he will miss the rest of the season, which is a big, big blow to the Giants, who are floating around 500, which is not... They're not out of contention for a wild card spot by any means. They're probably not going to win the division. They're already 9 games back there. But this is a huge blow for their chances of even getting in with the wild card.
I'll take this topic on a separate perspective. It opens up the door for Mr. Luis Matos, who started off with a bang. He had 13 RBIs over a 2-game span over the weekend. That's a pretty good way to kick off your opportunity as a starting player. He's kind of like,
yeah, and this is his second chance. So like we were talking about, I guess technically that was in the episode that's coming out on Monday, but we were talking about guys who don't always make it in their first chance at a starting role. Sometimes the second time around, they're a little bit more confident, a little bit more comfortable, and they take it and run with it. This is a second chance. This could be time.
Yeah, and he's still super young. He's 22. I don't know if he's really a power hitter, but we'll see. I think this will be a good chance for him, and also like a guy like Elliot Ramos, who also has kind of fallen flat in his limited opportunities, but should get more run now. And the Giants need all the offense they can get.
Yeah. Some fun stuff. So going away from the unfortunate, kind of sad, bum me out stuff, we have a couple of major home run streaks here. We have Rafael Devers, who has set the record for the Boston Red Sox for consecutive games with a home run at 6. That also ties him for the most consecutive games with a home run by a third baseman. That might have had a since whatever date on it whenever I saw it. It was on the TV, so unfortunately I don't remember all of that off the top of my head. But Devers is not the only guy in the American League East that has a huge home run streak. Gunnar Henderson, 4 days, 4 home runs. So the AL East, sorry for those pitchers. They're going to struggle for a while against these two.
So I'm just looking at Rafael Devers' spray chart for his hits in 2024. Very interesting. He has hit all his home runs but one to the opposite field. So I don't know if that's him like taking advantage of the green monster in left field, or if he just that's what he's doing this year. I don't know if his home runs have come at home or on the road, but pretty impressive. Like he's been kind of banged up this year, and when he's actually played, he's been just the same guy that we know.
Well, so his last 3 have been on the road, at least 2 in St. Louis and 1 in Tampa. But I believe the first, 3 in St. Louis, 1 in Tampa. I believe the 2 before that were in Boston, but against Tampa, I think.
Maybe, yeah.
So.
Yeah, but he's got like 9 home runs to opposite field or center field, and 1 home run right down the right field line this year.
Yeah, so both Devers and Gunnar are on some pretty spectacular tears right now. And actually, I'm realizing right now that the Red Sox game from today is over. And I don't know. He did not hit a home run today. He did continue his hit streak. He did have a single, but he did not have a home run today. So Devers ends at 6. Gunnar still has a chance. The game is in rain delay in the bottom of the, or after the bottom of the 6th. So, or going into the bottom of the 6th. So we'll see on that one. Speaking of crazy statistics, Elly De La Cruz already at 30 steals. We're just over a quarter of the way through the season, which means he's basically on pace for 120 now. When we talked about him last and about the pace that he was on, could he get to 100? Maybe. He was on pace for 92 at that time. He's now on pace for almost 120 steals.
Is Elly the modern Ricky? Because just for his willingness to want to run, because the guy clearly, maybe he even has a goal of stealing 100 bases. Like, he's committed to doing it.
Yeah. I would say, I would at least say he's the modern Vince Coleman.
Well, here's the thing. I think he's more like Ricky, because Vince Coleman was stolen bases and stolen bases only. Ricky had power, and he was a great on-base machine. And that's kind of what Elly is. Guy walks a lot. Obviously hits some massive
I disagree.
bombs.
He's not Ricky. You know who he is? He's Eric Davis.
Could be, yeah.
Because Eric Davis was the only guy to have a 30-40. No, not 30-40.
He had a 30-30, but I don't know if he ever ran wild like that, though.
I don't think Ricky ever had. No, it was a 30-80 is what I was thinking. Eric Davis had a 30-80.
Did he?
I believe so.
Let me just check that.
Because Ronald, when I was looking at Ronald's stats last year, like, Eric Davis was like the guy that he was trying to beat.
He had a 27-80.
27-80. That might have been what it was.
That's fair enough, yeah.
But I do think that the amount of power that Elly has, I think, is more comparable to Eric Davis. Like, Ricky had power, don't get me wrong. Eric Davis had more power. So it's like sacrificing a little bit of the stolen bases down from like 150 a season to get the extra 10 home runs. You get Eric Davis.
Yeah. Okay.
So, plus,
Hopefully
he's a Red, so it kind of is fitting. All right, tell me about Edwin Diaz. What's going on?
Yeah, so Edwin Diaz is kind of struggled a bit since he's come back off his patella injury, where he missed the entire 2023 season. He's been demoted from his closer's role for the time being. They're going to let some other guys take those ninth inning spots while he works.
Closed by committee.
Closed by committee. I mean, they got Reed Garrett, who could have been in our episode on surprise players. Like, guy's been just popped out.
Spoiler alert, Monday is going to be an episode on surprise players, and he's not in it.
Yeah, but honorable mention to Reed Garrett. So they're like okay because they've got Reed Garrett, they've got Adam Ottavino, and they can just let Diaz work up his confidence, work on whatever he's struggling with right now. I'm not really worried about this. I think it's just like probably more mental than anything. Give him some low leverage, get him right. Like, he's gonna figure it out eventually. If anything, maybe he's just working through the after effects of the injury and is not feeling like fully confident in his knee or whatever.
Sorry, I gotta. I'll explain that after we're done recording. But yeah, I hope Edwin Diaz can find it again and get back to his closer role, because having Timmy Trumpets, is that his name? Yeah, having him come out playing the trumpet in Citi Field, Edwin Diaz coming out for the save, that was awesome. And I want to see it again. Like, he brought the hype back to the closer. Something like more so than really anybody since Mariano Rivera, as far as just like the hype when the closer comes in. So I want to see it get back to that for him. But right now, this is probably the right move. But sticking with the Mets though, a little bit of information came out about a soon to be free agent first baseman for them, Peter Polar Bear Alonso. He is in his final year of arbitration. He will be hitting the open market this year, and he is. Well, this is his age 30 season.
I think it's 29.
29. So he'll be going into his age 30 season next year. He was apparently offered last summer a 7-year, $158 million extension, and he turned it down. I believe that was during the season last year when that happened. Which, thinking about it, I kind of want to know what his reasoning was. Like, he doesn't have to have reasoning. Maybe he just wanted to test free agency, see what other teams wanted him.
That's the obvious answer.
It's the obvious answer.
He's a Scott Boras guy. He's going to test the free agent market. Like, they typically don't sign extensions early.
Yeah, but at the same time, that's actually a pretty big contract for a first baseman who's going to be 30 years old, who is a power first guy. He's pretty decent at defense for a first baseman, but then again, it's first base, so it's not the defensive premier position by any means. So 158 is a huge contract for a first baseman.
Yeah, but doesn't he feel like he's just going to end up being like kind of a albatross contract? Like, he just has that profile of a guy that he's always going to have the power, but he might turn into like Giancarlo Stanton, for example. Like, always has power, but then has so many struggles with other stuff, staying on the field, making contact, that he ends up being like just not worth it.
So I actually don't think he'll be an albatross contract. I think he's going to be one of those Scott Boras guys that doesn't have a team on opening day.
Oof.
Which is upsetting to think about. Like, I love Pete Alonso. Watching him hit is really, really fun. But at the same time, teams are now at the point where, especially with Scott Boras, it seems, teams are just willing to just wait out those guys. Like, Blake Snell didn't have a team at the beginning of the year. Or like right at the beginning of the season, he signed with the Giants. I don't remember exactly the timeline on it. But then who was the other one that signed like after the season started?
I don't know if anyone signed after. Everyone signed in like late spring training, right?
Yeah, there was one that was like it might have been like the day. I think the day before opening day. Right?
Because Snell was not on the opening day roster. He had to work up. And also Jordan Montgomery. Then.
Yeah. Actually, where's Montgomery? Who's he with now?
The Diamondbacks.
Yeah, I totally did not remember that at all.
I haven't.
But yeah, like, I kind of feel like Pete might be one of those guys.
Yeah, I think it's like way too early to tell. I think it also.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking like the way that GMs have been treating the first base position in general.
That's fair.
First base in general is kind of like where the guys who can still hit but can't field go. Like your Christian Encarnacion Strand. He's not good enough at defense to play third base. Now that first base is opened up, you just pop him over there and you just say, just knock down the ball and pick it up if you have to. Just get the out.
Yeah. And the thing is, if you're first baseman and you're not providing defensive value and you're not running the bases well, you have to hit at exceptional level. And Pete Alonso has been 19% better than league average by WRC plus this year. That's about that's better than average for a first baseman, but not by a huge amount, to the point where you're trying to make the guy like your second highest paid player on your team or something.
Yeah, so WRC plus is league average, like compared to league average, but like every position has a different average within itself. Catcher is about
Yeah.
90 WRC plus. First base is like 110 almost.
Yeah, I think so.
Like that's not that much better than the average first baseman
Right.
as of what he's doing right now this second. Like Pete Alonso, like career wise, much better than that.
He's at 132 for his career, just for reference.
Yeah. So even 10% better than he's playing right now. Like he's having a down year right now, but it's still a decent year.
Yeah, and it's too early to say if it's a down year, I think.
Yeah. Just down compared to what he usually does, and we're only a quarter of the way through the season.
I mean, there's just for this year alone, there's a whole host of first basemen that have done super well and better than Alonso. You got like Freddie Freeman, Bryce Harper, Josh Naylor, Jake Cronenworth, Connor Joe, Reese Hoskins, Vladimir Guerrero, Michael Bush, Christian Walker, and then you get to Pete Alonso in the list in the order of WRC plus.
Yeah. So I will forever, well, until we find out what his actual contract is, I will forever wonder why he turned that down, because it seems like a stupid decision. But then again, it's not my money, not my contract, not my job. Doesn't matter what I think. So,
and that's not how they think, right? Most of these guys are willing to bet on themselves, and that's admirable, right?
Oh yeah, it's admirable. But I'm thinking, even if you bet on yourself, that seems like the max contract you're gonna get.
Yeah, that
like,
may be true. I don't know.
Like that's what I'm thinking, is just historically first basemen get this contract.
Yeah.
Maybe you could be the guy that breaks the mold, but then again, if you're gonna break the mold, you have to be like Juan Soto level.
I mean, just look at what Freddie Freeman got a few years ago. He got 6 years and 140 million.
Yeah.
And he was probably the best first baseman in the league.
Yeah, and that was better than the Paul Goldschmidt contract, which, granted, Freddie was younger than Goldie was when he got his contract with the Cardinals. But
was he?
I think so. By like a year or two.
Right? Maybe.
But yeah, I don't see this offer really being beat. Especially if Pete doesn't have like a stellar like back half of the season going right into his free agency period. I don't see him getting this off. And because that one buys out this year. That 7 years would buy out this year of arbitration and then be 6 more years. So, yeah, you got to kind of look at it from that point too. Like, if he gets a 6-year contract, what is that going to be? Because what's he getting right now for this season?
Probably a very high total, like probably around 30 million.
20.5.
20.5.
So basically, you're looking at a 6-year, $140 million contract on top of this season is what he was offered. So maybe there is a little bit of wiggle room in there for like a higher contract value, but I don't see it being all that much higher than 140.
If he goes the route of the recent Boris guys, then he'll end up signing a high AAV deal that's only 2 or 3 years with an opt out, and we'll go from there, I guess.
Yeah. Honestly, that's another conversation that it's probably not like a full pod topic, but the number of guys that have been moving away from Boris in the last couple, like especially like the last year, kind of impressed me. I feel like people are souring on him, even like the players.
They are, yeah.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happens there. So, anything else you got for this week in baseball?
Just that the Phillies are awesome, and they haven't lost back-to-back games in like a month. So shout out to the Phillies.
The thing that I got distracted by here a couple minutes ago, I saw a notification from MLB that it's still on my iPad, so let me read it. Are these stats real? Question mark, exclamation point. Or sorry, no. Yeah, question mark, exclamation point. First 10 starts, 9-0 with a 1.36 ERA. this pitcher's season is off to a historic beginning. Ranger Suarez, who also, in his most recent game, had a 10 strikeout game. So Ranger Suarez is somehow the ace of the Phillies when they also have Wheeler and Nola.
Yeah.
So that's a three-headed monster nobody wants to face.
Yeah.
So
for more on the starting pitching, it's like their starting pitching has been by far the best in the league. They've only used 6 starters, and the one backup starter was Spencer Turnbull, who had a ERA under 2 in the starts that he made for Taiwan Walker early in the year.
Dang, that's nuts. But yeah, this Phillies team is something else. This is probably the most well gelled Phillies team that we've seen in a couple years. Like, yeah. If this team gets hot at the end of the season, this could very well be their championship.
Yeah, so they look like a team to be not reckoned. I don't know. They're like awesome. I don't know what to say.
Yeah, don't ever bet against the Phillies in 2024, I think is basically what we're saying here. So, because even the Braves are looking up, if that tells you anything. And they're not just looking up, they're craning their neck. So, all right, that's all we have for you today. Make sure to come back on Monday for our main topic, which I definitely left on the title down on the most of this episode of This Week in Baseball. So, spoiler alert, it's going to be episode 150 about what did I call it? Not satisfying surprises. Sufficiently surprised. There we go. So yeah, thank you very much. We will see you guys later.
If you enjoy the podcast, please subscribe on your favorite podcasting app and YouTube to make sure you don't miss any future episodes. Join the conversation on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Getaway Day Pod. If you enjoy card collecting, check out our sister YouTube channel at Getaway Day Cards.